hear the voice of reason.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to another edition of Tell It How It Is, No Filter. I am your host, Voice of Reason, and I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. It's at Voice of Reason NF. Like, comment, share. Absolutely. I'm glad you could join me again. Always grateful for that. And shout out to the people, shout out to the veterans and the people who find Memorial Day important. Definitely salute to that. And for commemoration, my memory is my grandmother, my Nana, continue to sleep in peace. And that's it, man. Let's get right to it. So this was given to me a little watered down. I'm going to give you the watered down and the raw. Who wants to get plucked and who has standards? Can it be combined? We know what plucked is, right? We're just trying to be a little polite here, but it's who wants to get fucked and who has standards. So initially this is for women, but I can bring the men in on this too. So we're going to start with the women though. I feel like even the women in their whole phase, they still have some type of standard in the selecting and how they go about it. Now, their peers, their fellow women, friends, whoever, may judge them because those standards are lower than they should be. And they'll compare it to each other. So that's where it get a little messy. And that doesn't mean I'm condoning how low they make their standards. I'm just saying, fellas, that you notice you still got to put in some type of work, right? They could say, oh man, that girl's easy, or she slept with all the whole block, or she slept with this much. You know what I mean? I feel like it was still something that was required for that to go down. I don't know the levels and the magnitude. I'm just saying, fellas, keep it a buck. That's still better than us. Because the guys who just wants to do that, depending on the age, this is where you can draw some defense. So the older we get, I think we will have some standards regardless. Always. Hopefully. But the younger us, ain't no standards. Should I shit up? I should want to fuck. Let's just keep it real. So I give women a little credit on this because even at their low, there was still some requirement. Fellas, if you're trying to get busy only, you just got to be that guy. You got to meet that requirement. It's more of a slap in the face though, ain't it? Because when a chick has a lower standard and she's in her whole phase and you can't get her still, you're like, what am I, chopped liver? Right? Because you figure, hey, you money. And, society and, like I said, the peers and the fellow women will call her easy and try to, like, bring her down for that. I don't think the guy that's trying to have the fun is bringing her down or look down on her. He just feels a way like, damn, I'm dope to an extent, or however he judges himself. So if he can't get the easy girl, that shatters his confidence. It's not so much about her being easy. You know what I mean? It's like, a little comparison is like when a guy try to holler at her, when a guy try to talk to a woman who has a man and, they'll still play that hunter game or still reach even though she got a man. Leave that girl alone. But anyway, if you decide to, it's like the guy wants to know, well, can I have you if you didn't have a man? Or you just like this because you got a man and it's how you give it up. So you ain't even thinking past that, which is how it should go. But that's the competition men be in sometimes, He'll eventually leave it alone. He'll respect it, hopefully. But he just wants to know if he had a chance if you didn't have a man. And that's not for you to entertain, ladies. I'm just saying, I'm comparing that with the easy girl that the guy can't get. If you hear a girl is easy, especially younger growing up around the way, and you can't get her, it's equivalent to a woman that has a man that still won't deal with you if they didn't have the man. You know, you rather hear, I got a man is the only reason why you not rocking. You want to hear the girl standards is crazy. It's money. You want to hear that is money is the reason you can't get the girl, especially if you ain't got the bread. You know, I know this sounds a little shallow, but you'd be surprised the minds of others. Just on this occasion here, this who wants to get fucked and who has standards. So it can be combined. I feel like women combined it more in more cases. But fellas, we need to step it up because when we get to a certain age, because I say that I feel like we visit this twice. So we have our peak, our sexual peak, 20 to 30 or whatever that window is for you, the first time you feel that. And then I feel like it resurfaces in our 40s. So definitely when you spin the block in the 40s, you should combine this. But fellas, you just got to be that one. Fortunately, ladies, if you become the aggressor at any point in your whole phase, you don't have to worry about this as much. I don't see y'all getting rejected. I mean, even the low-hanging fruit gets an offer once a week, I feel. The low-hanging fruit that's the easiest, she still gets offers. I'm sorry. A woman can kind of be any way. That's why, as much as it's frowned upon or as much as she may get criticism, doesn't it kind of balance out? Because no matter how bad a woman carries herself, someone's going to try to give her. It's crazy to me. All right. Fair enough with that. Having options you don't exercise is dope. Great test of self-control. I finally have a segment that probably favors the women more. You see, it's not always about competition, man to woman. You know, we're trying to get the man and the women to get along overall. Anyway, shout y'all out again. I gave y'all that no matter how much you lower your standards, you still have standards even in your whole phase, I think. So now the second one, guys want a medal of honor for this. Women be like, that's every day. Let's piggyback. I said that in the standards and fucking that, again, low-hanging fruit. No matter how a woman behaves or carry herself, she's going to have options at some point, at least once a week. So for men, because we don't get honored vocally enough, unless we have celebrity status, we look at this as a prize that we should receive because, listen, we don't normally have options that we know about unless we put in the work. So now if we have options that we didn't put in any work, you know, they just notice our greatness and now all of a sudden they're an option. That's usually because you got somebody. That's because you got somebody, you pursuing somebody, you just got out of a situation with somebody. It just doesn't seem for the guy like the ideal time for that to pop off. I'm sorry. Not options that he want. So now if he has options he don't exercise, now ask him how many of those options he actually want anyway. And then you kind of could eliminate them. You know, I'll be going off the deep end. So fasting, right? If you 12 hours fast, but you slept 7 of the hours, you could count that in your fasting, can't you? You were asleep, but that's 7 out the 12. So if you got options that you don't want anyway, you can't really use that here, but we will. I'm telling women, they laughing at us because they're like, I got all type of options. Ones I don't want, ones that's maybe, some are shaky. So that's why there's no pity there. And we're not going to get praise for having self-control there because they deal with that on a more basis than we ever will. On a large scale, should I say. So having options you don't exercise is dope, though. Get to that, fellas. Show them that they ain't the only one that could do that. You know what I mean? Because That's a little frowned upon with women with class or women with status or the women that you might really want. You know what I mean? They may look at that. You may think it's not fair. We're here to conquer, but you know, we get a little judged too. Maybe, we're not a whole clip. Like they not gonna fuck with us at all. But that's how I think women be like, which guys they know not to take serious and just have fun with. The weather's kind of crazy. Don't mind my little sniffles. I don't think I got nothing. No COVID. Avoid paranoia if you know you're a solid person. This is damn near impossible. I would even co-sign that the more solid you are, the more you may have to be paranoid. The thing with this is, I guess, you got to have some type of faith, hope, believe in a higher power, and just, pray you get guidance on this as far as, remaining solid and just being sharp. Speaking of any type of religion, I shout out Church 2819 again, Pastor Philip Mitchell. I owe you love. I don't owe you access. I owe you love. I don't owe you access. So you remain solid. You may not have to use paranoia because you keep your antennas up in a calm way, not a paranoid way. And you don't allow the access when anything triggers you that make you feel like you gotta be paranoid. That's where you just, you know what I mean? You clip that, you cut that. And we're gonna get into that again before this is over. But easier said than done nonetheless. But just stay solid and pray you able to see the signs. And it's just a cautious thing. It doesn't mature into paranoia. Because that ain't a good way to be. Because you're just going to be on edge the whole time. It's going to drive you nuts. Feel me? So, remain solid. I like that. I like the dope people that's real, help out, strong. Mentally strong, mostly. That's how you really can help the world, the more mentally strong you are. All right. Ulterior motives won't work forever. There's more sinus. I ain't editing nothing. Ulterior motives won't work forever. You see things, right? We so visual, man. So men, women, everybody. You see people that rich, that's going on trips, doing whatever they want. You like, man, I want that life. You see people who are in a great relationship. It looks like the perfect couple. You're like, damn, I want love like that. Or you see somebody like status at a job. You may work there. You may be a worker. They may be the manager. And you're like, damn, I want that. Aim high. But those people you admiring or you want to be like, I'm sorry, if they have ulterior, and this is not to use that to wish their downfall, because it's going to pop off however, regardless. You ain't got to sit there wishing that. So if they have an ulterior motive, those rich people, that money will end. That money will come to a screeching halt. They'll blow it. If you have an ulterior motive, that relationship that looks perfect, that looks like something you want, won't last. Something gonna come to the light with that. And the people at the job, you a worker, they're a manager. If it's ulterior motives, they're gonna get jammed up. So there's no time frame on this. So you might be seeing this go on for a while and think it's solid, but only the people who are the ones with the ulterior motives know what I mean, because they see it crumbling before it actually crumbles. They feel that. Like, oh shit, I got found out. That's crazy. Shit about to end for them. You know what I mean? So you ain't got to sit there and envy and wish you were like people. You gonna get where you gotta go in due time. I would even argue that the more genuine you are and the further from you having an ulterior motive, it take longer to get to whatever you trying to get and what you want to call yourself admiring. You're going to get yours. Keep that ulterior motive out. Stop just wanting things because it look good, or stop wanting things because it'll just make you look good and you want to get praise and shit. Solid people don't need praising. Oh, man. All right. We're going to close out strong. I like this. It's going to be a combined effort here. Friends, lovers, family who don't compliment you, lift you up at all, show wishy-washy, yet you show up way more. It's time to let them go. And some people are in your life because it's easier to be your friend than your competition. All right, let's break that down. I owe you love. I don't owe you access. That's dope. This is the one where I gotta talk to the ladies more. Because women are so catty, messy amongst each other, right? So they should pay attention more to these behaviors and what they do and don't receive, and really lock in to let them go. Fellas, I feel like we will notice it, we will see it, and we will just keep those people at arm's length. You'll get a shout out here and there, but ain't no real building or confiding in them. You know, sorry to say, even I'm an example of that. You know, I got people that I'm like, well, I know how that go. So they only gonna be, I'm gonna check in. I check in, make sure y'all good. But do I fuck with y'all for real? Ain't no issue, ain't no animosity. And, I think that's how guys deal with that. With women, I don't think they can take that for long, because it's like they get aggravated. Their emotions go in that direction. Like, yo, what the hell? I do all this. They don't do this. They wishy-washy. They try to G you and tell you wishy-washy is their emotions out of control. You know what I mean? So it's a lot more complicated with the women. But friends, lovers, and family who don't, and then, don't get that twisted. I don't mean people should be kissing your ass, compliment you, lift you up. Like, that's nobody's assignment. I know we live in a world today of people needing validation, people needing to be told they're great. But I just mean the energy that you give, you just want it back. So if you're doing that with friends, lover, or family, and you see that you're not receiving any of that back, it's time to let them go. If I give men a little props for this, because we must be a little mentally strong to still say that we notice this and we keep them at arm's length and still could at least reach out, check in on them. I don't think women in large numbers can do that same thing. If they see the wishy-washy, they probably looking, if they could let go, is to let go completely. No check-ins, no dealings whatsoever. It may not be on site, but they're not going to do that calculated thing, I don't think, at large numbers. Or they'll just stay in the wishy-washy, thinking it'll get better. It's not. The older you get, you have less time to waste. Sorry to be that harsh about it. It's just a reality. You know what I mean? So you need to really lock in with what's meaningful, what has purpose, who has purpose. What do I do for this person? What do they do for me? And that's around the board. I'm not aiming it at a specific target. So, and this line right here is a great closer. Some people are in your life because it's easier to be your friend than your competition. They go that wishy-washy. They want to just see what's going on. They ask what's up. They ask the questions that seem organic, but it's really to get info. Definitely. You could cut that off too. Keep that short. Again, I think guys do a little better in this than women. You know what I mean? But the majority of this show was for the ladies, because, I do admire how they handle themselves in certain situations for sure. But I think with this one, we handle it a little more, because y'all will sit there and stress and try to figure out why, when if you a solid chick, just let them chicks go about their way, because they can't see your vision. They can't feel you. Everybody can't go. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the complication lies, and you shouldn't try to fix and save everybody. And I'm saying that from a genuine place because even though men handle it better, I've been there when I've been trying to hold on and help people and be the hero, and it don't get me nowhere. So I'm done. The hero has left the building. You ain't getting Superman, you're getting Clark Kent from the Daily Bugle. Or is that? Yeah, I think that's the Daily Bugle. But that was dope because you gotta have real self-awareness to put you first. The more you put you first, then it's easier to deal with these type of things. I definitely feel that way. I made tag in the timestamps, the inspiration behind this. Shout out to Rock for sending me the link on this. There's a young lady that her whole episode is on that. And they take it from their perspective. But I thought that that's a good conversation because we do got people around that shouldn't be, you know. Everybody can't go. We don't need yes men, yes women. We don't need, like back in the day, shout out Red, he would call them crate carriers. There's no need for them. Stop the fake interacting like y'all care. If you don't feel that they care, let them go completely. Easier said than done. You know, maybe I need to check myself and begin that today. But yeah, if we can like stop wasting time, you know, your village should be uplifting. Your village should compliment you. Your village should never be wishy-washy, or you need to live on a land by yourself, maybe for a little minute, and regroup and recruit. Feel me? So till the next time, you know my 3 Ps. Stay positive, stay progressive, stay pushing. Peace.